You think you have a choice. You think you are free, and yet what's living and breathing and moving through you are just your shadow intelligence. That's not even yours. It could be passed on from your family conditioning, from your ancestry line, from your friends, from your whatever in your culture, in society. Lahat, conditioning lang pala yun, pero feel mo, ako to,
Mm-mm.
this is me and I'm free. But guess what?
Nope.
Until nope.
Welcome to the Seven Dimensions of Wellness, the podcast that helps you reassess your habits and helps you progress. The seven dimensions are as follows: spiritual, physical, emotional, career, intellectual, environmental, and social. Reassess, progress. This is the Seven Dimensions of Wellness. And welcome back to the Seven Dimensions of Wellness. I'm your host, Jerome Paul. And tonight, we will talk about the emotional dimension. It's all about managing your emotions objectively. Now, previously, we were able to talk about finding our purpose with the founder of Pathways Community, Mommy J. And previously, like before that episode, we were able to talk about the usage of self reflection, what I was able to learn from self reflection. So tonight, we're going to talk about something very exciting. We've been building all year for this. I get a lot of comments like, Jerome, how do I manage my emotions objectively? Because I'm feeling a lot of stress and emotions right now. So, tonight, we're super excited to have the co-founder of Pathways Community. She's a shadow work guide in Pathways too. So let's all welcome my ate det, Krisselle Naguit. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi,
Hello.
Jerome. Good evening.
Good evening.
Grabe.
Good evening.
Hi, everyone.
Ayun.
How are
Thank
you?
you. I'm doing great. Like taas pa ng energy. Super
Grabe.
lakas. Yes. And how about you, ate? How have you been?
Sabi
Mm.
mo nga, since our topic this week sa podcast ay about how to handle emotions or emotional intelligence. Grabe din collectively.
Mm,
Everyone,
mm.
there are lots of people going through emotional turmoil. Pero I hope kung ano man mapag-usapan natin today, it can help them understand, not only handle emotions sa para mawala yung emotions, but really understand the importance, the essence, and the beauty of our emotions. So sana
Yes.
magawa
Mm.
natin.
Oh, definitely. For sure. Everyone's
Let's see.
expecting na, oh, ito na, finally. Kasi sa podcast over the past few months, talagang I'm so sorry, runners. I have purposely like give you pahapyaws na ito talaga yun na abangan nyo next time sa Runaway Podcast. Pag-uusapan natin yan kung paano natin i-handle na yung emotions natin. So now, finally, after all these months, we have you as our guide tonight. Yes, thank you.
Thank you then for the
Ayun.
invite.
Mm. Oh, and of course, Ate Det, the floor is yours. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Like any notable like achievements lately this week? Mm-mm.
Hmm. So siguro mag-start muna ako as, hi everyone, I'm Det. I'm also the co-founder of Pathways Community and Healing Center. But most of the time, I'm really focused on guiding people on how they do their shadow work. Shadow work is a process na mamaya we will talk more about. But apart from that, I'm also more sa background ako ng mga ginagawa sa Pathways, yung mga ino-organize namin with the projects of Pathways. We're opening a lot of things, brewing up a lot of things. And sabi rin ni Mommy J last week dun sa podcast na we are opening up a center next year. So, yun yung mga nangyari behind the scenes. But, so yun. Yun muna right now.
So like I'm super excited for it, and of course like yung Pathways community super excited na din dun kasi come on, it's gonna be a new thing, and when something is new, everyone is gonna be excited na okay, what's new? What can I learn from it? Okay.
Kami rin excited at saka kinakabahan. Sa totoo lang medyo may kaba. Kasi
Oo.
ano 'to, eh, parang medyo long time coming, but I think it's time. It's really time to bring this out. So,
Oh,
hopefully mag-ano na siya, mag-birth na finally kasi I think
mm-mm.
everyone can benefit from it. Many
Yes,
people can benefit from it.
definitely. And there's no better timing than now. Grabe, 'di ba? Like,
Exactly. May
Ayun.
energy mo ng ganitong oras.
Yes. It's 10,
I
like,
love it.
yung mataas energy ko ate when it comes to do this. Okay. Oh, speaking of energy and speaking of building up, of course, I'm also sure the runners are also curious, and the Pathways community are also kind of curious. Then, how did we know each other? Like, how did our paths cross? Ganon.
Grabe. Si
Mm-mm.
Jerome sa pagkakatanda ko, I think, we met, Jerome through an event. Like, parang it's an event and then, nanalo ka nun ng,
Uh,
healing
Vouchers.
session. Voucher,
Yes.
yes, and healing
Mm-mm.
session nun. So, parang first time na when we got to the session, sobrang divine timing din kasi like hindi yun yung session mo tapos napunta ka sa'min and whatever, basta tapos nung finally na-meet ka na namin, sabi namin
Mm.
na, "Wow, may grabe." And when we went through our sessions, you were asking questions that are really, meaningful and things that, seekers, as we call it,
Mm-mm.
would ask. Seeker about, meaning and purpose of life, yung mga gano'n. So, sabi namin,
Mm-mm.
"Ay, etong si Jerome, sige mukhang malayong mararating itong batang
Yes.
'to." And then yun, the rest is history kung saan-saan na tayo napunta.
Yes, and in 1
Dito na
year's
tayo,
time, 'di ba? In 1 year's time, I'm here,
grabe.
we're here.
1 year na pala 'no? Kaya pala anniversary mo
Oo.
rin. Why, grabe.
Yes.
Happy
Um,
anniversary!
hey, thank you.
Happy anniversary ng healing journey
And the podcast din, ay
and
grabe, like,
podcast.
so synchronous,
Congrats.
sabay-sabay. Oo. To share a little bit lang din ate, kasi when I was watching that live event, there was a comment there na I'm not sure kung bakit niya kinoment yun, but nakalagay dun is like, for girls lang po ba yung pathways? And then, na-intimidate ako kasi, uy, hala, oo nga, baka mamaya like for girls lang. And then, so I just, um, parang gathered all my strength na hindi, wag mo pansinin yun. Just focus on asking the questions kasi may matututunan ka dito. So, like, okay. So, and, ayun na.
So, definitely gusto mo ba expound ko yun,
Ay,
yung tanong
definitely,
mo na
sige.
so, definitely hindi 'no, hindi siya literally for girls only or for women only. Siguro the reason why at first, I'm saying at first, 'cause now more men, sobrang natutuwa kami kasi more men are now being drawn to inner work through the inner
Mm-mm.
journey, through seeking yung inner realm. But I
Mm-mm.
guess, by nature, women, the way to explore about life more on paloob yung nature ng women in reflection. It's more internal. That's why they
Mm-mm.
gravitate more on inner work or self reflection, self-discovery in a manner that's going inwards and then reflecting that outwards. As opposed to nature and energy ng men, even
Mm-mm.
if umabot tayo later on in their energetic makeup, with their torsion field and their Merkaba, makikita din yun na outward to
Mm-mm.
discover themselves or discover God and life, they go out there that
Mm-mm.
leads them back towards themselves. So it's like, um, a process of evolution, inwards, outward, and involution, from external going inwards to meet thyself and to understand God and the universe. So,
Mm-mm.
yun.
Oh my God. Sorry, I'm getting a sudden realization as you talk about
Share mo yan.
Kinikilabutan ako. Kasi, there was a time when I was able to meet Ate Det and then Mommy J in person. We did a healing session live, like in person talaga. And what happened was, um, I was so thankful na parang may nakita daw silang past life ko about like a soldier, and like he has good heart. Like he's really had a good heart. So when you talked about like nilalabas yung sarili and then eventually they will go back home, I realized na parang it's just like a soldier who's being deployed to a place, but eventually he needs to go back to the base.
Yes.
'Di ba? So I was like,
Ang galing nung ano na yun, na
oh,
metaphor. Nice.
oh my God, sorry. I was so surprised. Like, ayun.
Pero
Thank.
masaya ako personally, masaya ako na dumadami na yung guys in Pathways, which,
Mm,
tells us also na
mm,
there is really a balancing that's going on when it comes to, yung nangyayari ngayon, 'di ba, parang we were, say conditioned into living a more masculine type of way of life, meaning go, go, go out there, achieve this,
mm.
achieve that, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Yun, as opposed to now, even men now are starting to go deeper into themselves, discover themselves, go inwards, do the inner work, have inner journey,
Mm,
not just acquiring knowledge, but more on, deepening and then finding wisdom from within. So magkakaroon na rin
mm.
ng gano'n. Balancing lang din. And then rise of the feminine, not rise feminine
Mm,
energy 'to, but not to be over another, but really rise kasi matagal din nagkaroon ng oppression when it comes to the nature of feminine, not just
mm,
women itself. Nature of feminine meaning, um, being still,
mm.
self-reflection,
Yes.
handling emotions,
Yes!
judge yung emotions noon, so kasama yun sa ano ngayon, sa balancing na nangyayari. We are right now sa time wherein there's a great shift happening. I think na-discuss din or parang nahahapyawan natin in Pathways
Mm,
and last week kay Mommy J.
mm.
Yun, may balancing leveling of the playing field.
Oh, and I'm just really super excited then that I'm thankful. I'm thankful na I'm also a part of that balancing. Na at least now today, as we listen to this on a Saturday night, live on Facebook, we're going to bring awareness to everyone. Talaga, na it's okay to handle your emotions. It's okay to feel your emotions.
Yes.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay lang yan. Okay lang.
Lalo na sa lalaki, kasi may stigma yung mga sa mga lalaki. Siguro to add dun sa first question mo kanina na bakit
Yes.
parang una
Uh,
mga babae lang, ngayon pati lalaki.
mm.
Kasi I think when we talk about emotions and healing and emotions,
Mm.
merong stigma sa lalaki na na-create in the past na pagka hindi ka lalaki kapag ano, masyado kang emotional, magpakalalaki ka.
Yes.
So I
Mm.
think, to be fair with men, grabe rin yung nangyaring oppression ng ano nila, sa kanila when it comes to, getting in touch with their own feminine energies.
I have to agree. And tawag dito, parang I remember what Mommy J said. Well, she always says this a lot of times talaga. Like, the light and the dark, like they need to coexist. Like you can't live without the other. So parang it's like from my understanding, us men, we also really need to feel that emotion rather than just shoving it down. And then, masama yan.
Exactly.
Lalaki tayo. Sorry. Ganon.
True. Hindi
Sorry na
maging
nagiging
zombie na lang
shirt
tayong lahat.
ko. Oo. Ayun. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I'm really loving it. Like 13 minutes in, like we're already talking about like how do we like see our emotions, di ba? Like nilalatag na natin. And I'm so happy. Excited na. But before that, of course, I want to ask then. They say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So, what about you? How did your spiritual awakening and journey come about? Ayun.
Hmm.
Mm,
Grabe, pero sobrang complex to now at hindsight,
mm-mm,
it's difficult to just pinpoint paano siya nag-start kasi parang wala na siyang starting point when you start, na parang it has always been there pero ngayon lang
mm-mm,
nagkakaroon ng more awareness. But to talk about in relation to our our topic din today, dun ko na lang siguro
Mm.
ida-divert yung kwento ng
Ayan.
spiritual journey ko.
Okay.
So I got into pathways through a very difficult time in my life. I was I was confused already kasi I was at a point of parang yung breakdown ko is medyo parang seemingly baligtad. Baligtad in a sense na at the heights of the physical achievements that I've been dreaming of. That was the
Mm-mm.
time that I questioned everything. I questioned everything because bakit ganito? I was already at the heights of my career
Mm-mm.
in our business noon as an architect and in construction. Pero with the experience that I've been exposed to, I started questioning everything. Ganito ba? Parang ano bang ginawa ko sa sarili ko?
Mm-mm.
Umabot ako sa
Mm-mm.
ganun na point. Parang ito yung dream ko ba talaga to? Because
Mm-mm.
deep inside me there's a void or there's like this feeling of emptiness and meaningless, and I thought that ito yung hinahanap ko to bring fulfillment, peace, and whatever blah. And once I was there, sabi ko, hindi ito yon, hindi ito yun. So kung hindi ito yon, ano pala? So I have to really, I was willing at that time to let go of everything, and one thing led to another. Literally everything that I have, everything that I built, my beliefs, my rights, my wrongs, basta I wanted to really understand what life is about. Kung hindi, ano pang ginagawa ko dito? Parang ganun. So yun, one thing led to another, and then I got into pathways. So in relation to this, I started as just like everyone, just like you. I was
Mm-mm.
questioning about life and about my life, and all I wanted was really to find happiness. So ko, I just want to be happy. Pwede po bang sumaya lang wala akong kailangan gawin para sumaya. Yung masaya lang ako sa loob, nang wala akong
Mm-mm.
kailangan gawin. And there, one thing led to another. I was just given one
Mm-mm.
assignment, which is no judgment. And at that time, I understood the assignment because at the time I was willing to let go even my own rights and wrongs to really see. Sabi ko nun, siguro conversation ko with the universe or God. Then
Mm-mm.
I guess nagawa ko na lahat ng akala kong pwede kong gawin, alam kong tama and mali, and it's not yet here. It's not this. It's not a fulfilling life. So I guess I'm willing to drop it, set it all aside, show me, parang ganun ba. So I allowed myself to discover myself
Mm-mm.
in a different lens.
Oh.
So from there, I was first taught how to forgive myself and understand what that truly meant. And from that emotion and that assignment of no judgment, literal
Mm-mm.
na hindi ko ginudge yung sarili ko, nothing. No up, no down, no time, no space, no past, no future, nothing. No, just like parang a baby, how would I observe everything nang hindi ko alam, nang wala akong alam.
Mm-mm.
And it also entailed me not judging my emotions. Yun. So, from
Oh.
there, kung galit ako, galit ako. Kung masaya ako, masaya ako. Kung confused ako, confused ako. Kung wala akong maramdaman, wala akong maramdaman. And
Mm-mm.
from that experience, I think that's how my spirit or my soul led me into how I can deal with shadow work, or hindi ko pa alam yung term na shadow work, but
Mm-mm.
my soul led me on how to access emotions deep within me and what it entails, even the purpose of each emotion and how to set myself free. Basta grabe lahat, how to clear everything. And then, yun, that's how later on na lang nagkaroon ng pangalan na shadow work pala yun. Parang as
Mm-mm.
coined by Carl Jung, ganyan. So I started looking into that. Nasabi ko, oh my gosh, so may tawag pala dun sa
Oo.
finally, meron tayong
Oo.
pwedeng itawag, although I had a different name for that in the past.
Oh, mm.
So, yeah.
What's important is that you were able to practice it na, 'di ba, before. Pero grabe, like, kinikilabutan ako. Like, I keep on doing this kasi like, okay, be still, okay? Huwag ka umiyak. I was really
It's
moved.
okay, Jerome, handling emotions ngayon. You can let it out.
Yes, yes. It's just like, baka hindi pa ready ulit yung runners na makita ko. Like, oh my God, iyakin pala si Jerome. Like, what? So I have to say, when you mentioned na there's no judgment. Kinalabutan ako ate kasi one, it's other than that being so difficult to do, especially with our emotions. Feeling ko kasi yung judgment na yun, that mostly holds us back and pushes us forward to do the things that we do. Like like for example, with what you have said na you had everything na on the top, diba? And you were willing to let go all of it. I kind of shared the same experience when I experienced being on the top in such an early age na parang ito ba talaga yung gusto ko? Kasi nakuha ko na, pero bakit hindi ako masaya?
Mm.
Like, bakit ngayon na nakuha ko pa, mas nagkaroon ng problema? Okay,
Mm.
mas nagkaroon ng problema. So, that bravery and that courage that we took to let something go na akala natin, na buong buhay natin, ito yung magpapasaya sa atin,
Mm.
na hindi pala, that takes a lot of courage and strength. So, I just really want to say, like, wow, thank you, ate, for
Mm.
taking that leap of faith. Taking that leap of faith.
Thank
Mm,
you then. Thank you then for acknowledging that, and for those who are maybe going through crossroads. I'm not
mm,
saying I'm not passionate with the things that I've been doing in the past, even with my
mm,
profession, whatever. I still love doing it, but now
mm,
I'm seeing a different purpose when I now exercise those skills later on in what we're doing also here in Pathways. Kasi
yeah.
involved pa rin yun. But I guess, kumbaga, at first, akala natin yung ambitions natin when talking about emotions, we
Mm,
have to achieve this in order to feel this emotion or
mm,
to be in this state. And
mm,
we've always been led on that kind of parang conditioning. So parang ngayon, what we're trying to do, especially with self-discovery, understanding the self, that it all begins with us. We are the cause and we are the effect. And before mag-manifest yun in our reality, whatever that is, in my
mm.
case, I just want to be happy. I can choose to be happy and be happy first and understand that, how to become that, until it now starts to reflect in my own reality through my relationships, through my circle, through whatever I'm doing, na hindi labas yung pinanggagalingan.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Nagkalabutan talaga ako, sorry, ah.
Nanginginig din ako ngayon, kinakabahan ako ngayon
Oo,
palang
okey.
lumalabas.
So,
Thank you.
I guess, like, let's that sink in, okay? Like, sink in muna 'yan sa ating, listeners. Okay, my goodness. Oh, but I do want to ask, if is there anything else you would like to add before we, officially, like, run down, the questions that we have for today? Yeah.
Wala naman. Siguro, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
do
All right.
this.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So maybe we have already talked about this earlier, like just now. Just now. So for those people, to our runners and to the Pathways community, and to the listeners, of course, who are curious, what is shadow work? Like, how is that related to dealing with our emotions?
Okay. So
Mm,
siguro, when we talk about shadow work, parang andun na siya with the term itself. It's working with our shadows. So,
mm,
ang difference lang, sometimes hindi sa spiritual marketplace. I'll call it marketplace ha, kasi
okay.
nagkaroon na rin ng spiritual trend.
Mm-mm.
Although it's okay kasi it's part of bringing awareness to people.
Yes.
But ang hope lang natin in Pathways is that when we talk about shadows, we can start understanding the layers of the shadows. Minsan
Mm,
kasi sinasabi lang natin na parang, oh, shadow mo yan, ego mo yan, ganun lang. But do we really understand the difference, and do we really understand the depths of it? So shadow work is about working on our shadows, and how we bring, ano ba yung shadow? May aspect yun ng subconscious and unconscious parts of our being. So we
mm.
bring light to our shadows, meaning bring our awareness and consciousness to those parts that were left in the subconscious and unconscious fields of experience, so that the awareness is there, not to say what's right or wrong, but really to give the self a choice. Kasi kung wala tayong awareness of it, then nawawala yung aspect of choice. Parang as Mommy J would say, you're just subject to your to the ruling planets, or
Planets.
in my language, you're just a subject of your shadow intelligence. You think you have a choice, you think you are free, and yet what's living and breathing and moving through you are just your shadow intelligence. That's not even yours. It could be passed on from your family conditioning, from your ancestry line, from your friends, from your whatever, in your culture, in society. Lahat conditioning lang pala yun, pero feel mo, ako to,
Mm-mm.
this is me and I'm free. But guess what?
Nope.
until 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 we are aware of our makeup, then that's the time we can start understanding and claiming our freedom. Yeah.
I wanna let that sink in kasi feeling ko like madaming nabasag nung sinabi yun natin.
Sige, mag-a-add pa akong konti kung okay lang
Okay,
about
sige, sige
shadows,
ba.
no? About
Okay.
dun sa shadow and shadow work. So,
Okay.
kaya we work with our shadows not to parang cut it off. Kasi
Mm-mm.
there's a reason why our shadows are our shadows. Kasi these are parts of ourselves that we have rejected in the past. Or we felt like this part of me is unaccepted by people. This is something shameful. So, tatago ko na lang, or I wouldn't be this, or parang express this aspect of me because
Mm-mm.
hindi once upon a time doon ko na-experience yung rejection. So, wag na lang.
Ah.
Um, Once upon a time, dito ko na-experience yung pain. So, wag na lang. So, doon nagkakaroon ng build up yung shadow, and the more we na iti-treat natin yung shadow as an enemy, the more it will stay there and it will run our iOS. The
Oh.
shadows are there to teach us actually one great thing, which is love and unconditional love towards ourselves. We are here to bring awareness to these repressed parts and aspects of our being in our subconscious and unconscious, so that we can start integrating them back within ourselves and understanding the purpose ng kahit shadow. Kumbaga, hindi lahat ng madilim ay masama. Hindi lahat
Mm-mm.
ng kumikinang ay mabuti. Saying namin dito sa Pathways.
I'm so happy. Again, this is one of my most awaited episodes sa Lagate. So, like, you will definitely hear sorry runners ha. Like, lagi ko na sinasabi, kinikilabutan ako kasi it's all starting to make sense for me. It's all starting to make sense. Kasi, I have to agree. Um, from the term itself, shadow, like it's left there. Like, walang ilaw. So, at the time, parang in one point of our life, sabi mo kanina ate, maybe once upon a time you felt rejection, you felt
Mm.
pain. So what if like you love doing that thing, you're so passionate about doing that thing, pero your environment tells you no. So
Mm.
you have to put that away and
Mm.
then for you to feel accepted kasi nga takot ka sa rejection. And now, kaya ako kinikilabutan kasi at one point of my life, I felt like talking about spirituality was not a good thing from a
Mm.
Catholic school. Okay, like for my friends at the time who I wanted to be accepted, like in their circle, parang okay, let's talk about spirituality, more about games, more about like bro stuff, mga ganun ganun. So,
Yes.
so finally to let this out and to hear that live, it's just like okay, I have homework to do. Okay, I knew it. I have homework to do.
Lahat naman tayo eh. Lahat naman tayo. We have homeworks
Mm.
to do. Inner works. Inner work to
Yes.
to
Mm.
do and to discover. Kasi ano eh, um, ang dami na ring conditioning in the past na that we had to take on and passed on ways of being na parang we should be. For example, We
Mm-mm.
feel rejection is relative. You may be rejected for something na sa akin in my realm, I'm so accepted. So relative yun. So siguro kailangan maintindihan ng bawat isa that we all have our own lessons to learn. We have our own experiences here so that we can learn what we need to learn and find the meaning and purpose of each lesson. Hindi kasi natatapos sa lesson eh. Yung iba, learn the lesson and move on. Learn the lesson and move on. But we are
Mm-mm.
forgetting the heart, meaning we are forgetting what purpose? So, ba't ko pa na-learn yung lesson na yun? Why did I have to go through that kind of experience? Let's say suffering, different kinds of pain. What's it?
Mm-mm.
Ano bang purpose? Until we're able to accept and maybe embrace and realize that even the most painful parts that we have experienced may connect siya sa purpose that we are meant to live out here, that not only fulfills ourselves but also fulfills a greater part beyond ourselves. So siguro yun, mamaya na ako magbigay ng examples.
Ah, yes,
Ang
alright.
ganda muna.
Oo, like ninanamnam ko din ate, for sure. Kasi like you're right. And from what you have just said, ate, wala talagang tapon. As in,
Wala
like,
talagang
wala.
tapon. True.
Mm. Totoo. So, maybe we can expound that statement kasi lagi na natin nasasabi na okay, third time na sa sa podcast na walang tapon. Okay. What role does self-awareness play in effective shadow work? Ayun.
Okay.
Paano natin masasabi na bakit parang walang tapon? Gano'n. Mm.
Siguro mabibigay ko na lang na way to explain that is using
Mm.
myself as an explanation. Yeah, using
Mhm.
my story pala.
Mm.
Myself. My
Okay, okay.
story as an explanation.
Mm.
Kumbaga parang in the past I've had a very dysfunctional family, in a
Mm.
sense na parang merong issues with parang dun sa parents ko with their relationship that has affected me personally. Medyo chaotic yung environment, a lot of
Mm.
violence. Until violence, I experienced it firsthand. So from that violence, it built up a lot of anger in me, a lot of hatred in me, and a lot of
Mm.
questions sa parang, bakit ko nararanasan 'to, eh, yung iba ko namang na friends or ganyan, hindi naman ganyan yung na-experience nila, hindi naman kailangan ganito at an early age. And on top of
Mm.
that, there was also an experience of scarcity in the household because of the conflict din ng
Mm.
parents. So at the time both conflict nagbabattle inside, and it somehow marred and corrupted my view in life, and I started seeing more and more of that kind of violence, corruption, scarcity on on a broader scale later on when it comes to businesses, business partners, hanggang with the industry itself. And
Mm.
naalala ko noon na dalawa lang yung nung nandun pa ako sa no awareness, kasi nga we're
Mm.
talking about how does it play out, nung nasa ignorant state ako at that time, and how to deal with these emotions. Malay ko ba kung paano ko i-handle yung emotions. Dalawa lang ang emosyon ko. And my people who know me from the past would understand this.
Mm.
Either masaya ako, as in masayang-masaya ako, or galit lang ako. So either galit ako sa mundo or masaya ako sa mundo. Yun lang. Everything in between, wala yan. I was apathetic. I got into the point na talagang apathetic. Wala akong emotions to the point na kahit kunyari 'pag magwawala ako, kasi magwawala ako kunyari sa trabaho ganyan.
Mm.
Wawala
Mm.
ako, may papagalitan ako, blah, 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 blah. Ta's kahit na mag-squirm and mag-wiggle-wiggle yung tao, umiyak sa'kin, as in I wouldn't feel a thing. I would call
Oh.
myself, it got to a point that the anger in me consumed me, and
Mm.
my unanswered questions to God, the
Mm.
universe, to life also consumed me, na I was really
Mm.
cruel. I admit na talagang it was cruel. That's the only thing I could describe it. But so when I started having awareness, and I'm very grateful for Pathways kay Mommy J,
Mm.
that it needed, no matter how we think absurd yung parang emotion na nakikita natin like anger, cruelty, um, or shadow na nakita natin, when it is held in a safe space, in a space of no judgment, no shadow can be loved. Parang wala, lahat kayang mahalin, kayang maintindihan, and can be transformed. I'm not saying this to ano parang ano tawag doon, ah,
Mm.
enable na, o sige, di
Yes.
maging magalit ka na lang, wag mo nang,
Oo.
no, it's really, okay, when will that end? The question is hanggang kailan? Hanggang kailan
Yes!
mo
Tama!
una, dun sa hanggang kailan mo gusto magalit, dun naman sa
Mm.
receiver of that, hanggang kailan mo gusto magpaapekto dun sa galit ng ibang tao. Ganun lang,
Tama.
until we take accountability, um, sa sarili nating buhay and our emotions, it will not end, the cycle will not end. And the only way to begin claiming back our accountability, our self-responsibility and self-worth, self-love, is through self-awareness. Paano ko malalaman na merong ibang way kung hindi ako aware? Gano'n lang kasimple. Paano ko malalaman na hindi lang anger and joy ang emotion sa buhay kung hindi ako magsa-start with self-awareness. So, yun.
Tama. I have to say, ate, like, I really resonated when you told me na, like, oh, like before, okay, like the old you would just feel like happiness tsaka anger. Kasi like that's how my parents saw me growing up. That's how my parents saw me growing up. Naggalit lang lagi si Jerome, like, ah! Or like happy lang, like, oh, yay, okay. Tapos ay magagalit na naman. But I do want to add something then, like an answer to the question, like what role does self-awareness play in effectiveness of shadow work?
Yes.
Um, I really want to say like thank you muna to Pathways, especially to you, Ate and Mommy J, kasi you were the reason why I have that experience in the first, like, yung shadow work. And I really want to say thank you kasi, from that healing session that we had, I was able to bring light to a shadow that I thought was never there in the first place.
Mm.
And the runners know, maybe know this, but I'm talking about my issues with my dad. My issues with my dad. Like growing up without him in my life, I have resented him talaga. Like I hated him. Like, bakit mo kami iniwan? Like, alam mo ba ilang gabing umiiyak si mama dito, tapos kami pinagbubuntungan ng galit. Like, napapasa yung trauma sa amin na now growing up, nare-realize ko na, oo nga no, what my mom felt at the time was passed on to me because like whatever she did at the time only basta yun ang iniisip niya na yun
Yes.
yung
Was the
best.
only way she knew best at the time.
Mm. And to use myself to use my story then as an example, okay, as an example, when Mommy J and Ate that did shadow work with me. So they were the ones who was going to pull me out. Okay, and we're going to talk about that later. Now you need someone to help you pull you out when you're doing shadow work. I am so thankful kasi I was able to go deeper and pinpoint that time of my life talaga kung kailan ako nagtanim ng galit sa dad ko. And when I was able to pinpoint that time, to remember that emotion, to imagine it in my head kung ano talaga yung nangyayari in the first place, kung bakit ko siya naramdaman. Like, I had to accept it, feel it, let it go, and finally forgive myself for feeling it. Kasi like, taon yung nasayang na dapat reconciliate na kami ni Papa na okay, bumawi na lang tayo, Paps. But now, finally, there's light.
Yes. Siguro
Mm-mm.
to support that, hindi naman siguro nasayang, you still had to go through that, even the distance
Mm-mm.
and the confusion. But,
Mm-mm.
siguro through going through your own process and doing your own shadow work, there's more acceptance. There's more acceptance on things that happened. Kasi many of
Mm-mm.
us think na we accept, nangyari na yun, tapos na. But it's
Yes.
over it. operates our very present moment without us knowing, until we reconnect back and reintegrate that experience back with awareness this time. Not only awareness, but a loving awareness in these aspects now we have repressed. That's the only way we can that's one way we can transform our reality now, our relationships now. Siguro parang i-rephrase ko lang sinabi mo
Mm,
na you need someone to pull you out.
mm,
Hindi talaga kami yung nag-pull out sa'yo at the time. You did your work, but we were
mm.
just guiding you maybe on where
Ah.
to look, but not telling you, without telling you what to find, because at the end of the day hindi
Mm,
kami ang we didn't live your life. And
mm,
the only way we can truly help another is through guiding them, but
mm,
allowing them also have the freedom to remember and to get themselves out of that
mm,
process. Pero doon sa sinasabi mong you need someone, talagang there are times when you are inside your shadow, um, ang hirap to find light. Ikaw nga yung nasa loob ng shadow,
mm.
to find awareness beyond that
Yes.
without having someone, a mentor, to help you see
Mm,
aspects na blindsided tayo. Kaya nga siya sa shadow kasi
mm.
unseen yet.
Yes.
Unseen yet. So sometimes we need a guide. Okay, then we teach in Pathways, kaya tayo may workshop, may Art of Inner Work, to help you how to do your own process of how to process, how to shadow work, do your own shadow work. But there are moments na hindi naman lahat i-process mo mag-isa. Dahil paano mo makikita kung asa loob ka nga ng blind side?
Tama. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, ate. And I think this is the perfect time to ask the question na din. I'm also curious, like my younger self is really curious, how do we do shadow work? Like, are there like necessary steps for us to do it? Sa mga interested din the listeners now, like, how do we do shadow work?
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So siguro, first, medyo mahaba 'to, okey lang ba?
Oh, yes,
Una,
definitely.
let's talk
It's
about the
okay.
layers of ano muna, of
Mm-mm.
the shadow. Kasi
Okay.
minsan, this is how we do it here in Pathways. Siguro dahil na rin sa journey ko on how to clear the conditionings of the mind, but not only the conditioning of the mind, because I am well aware that the many shadow work I see out there, most of it parang mind reframing, mind conditioning lang, na nakakalimutan
Mm.
yung wounds of the heart. So let's talk about the layers of the shadows first.
Mm-mm.
So yung shadow, as we call it, may makeup yan na first there is what we call the story, yung akala mong reality. For example, binugbog ako ng nanay ko or ng jowa ko or ng ganito ako, ng galit na galit ako. That's the story. But behind it is a limiting, so that's a story. It's like a formulated reality, pero that
Mm-mm.
formulated reality was based on all other aspects that are unseen. There are limiting beliefs.
Ah.
So from the
Mm.
from the shadow, from the story, there's also the limiting beliefs. Then
Yes.
there's also the judgment, the ego first, the ego, and then the judgment, and then the wound. Lima lang yan. Story, limiting belief,
Leave
ego,
ego,
judgment, and
judgment.
wound
Okay.
to get through the core. So, these things madalas, oo, may clearing tayo of conditionings, limiting beliefs, na feeling ko helpless ako, yung mga ganyan, victimization. But it
Mm.
doesn't end there. It also tells us ano ba yung strong suit that we created so that we don't feel the same wound or the same pain that we experienced in the past. So there's this layer of ego na parang feeling nila pag ego mo, shadow mo. But
Mm.
all of
Yes.
these, it's not the same thing. And at the
Mm.
same time, you have to name, anong ego yon? O sige nga, anong shadow mo yon? Anong name ng shadow na yon? And where did it come from? And plus, from that ego, we started creating, kaya nabuo yun, the ego was formulated based, a specific ego is formulated based on specific judgments also.
Mm.
And from the judgments, these judgments are what we create. Parang we try to make sense of the pain that we experience.
Mhm.
So, babaligtarin ko para mas madaling maintindihan. Siguro in the past, for example, you for the first time you felt rejected. So, kunyari,
Mm-hmm.
ang pain is rejection, and then you felt ashamed. So the first wound was like shame. So mayroon akong nagkonti ko lang dito with what we're talking about,
Oh yes. Yes.
especially during workshops, para mas madali lang maintindihan. So let's say
Mm-mm.
the core wound is shame. And since I'm trying to make sense, ano tong icky feeling na to, hindi ko pa naman alam na shame siya at that time. Itong
Mm-mm.
feeling na to, parang gusto ko lang magtago, ayoko, and I felt hurt, I felt pained, ayoko nang gawin ulit yon. To try to make sense of what we experience or what we felt, we try to formulate labels and judgments. So these judgments now start to create, ay, hindi pala ako accepted. So for example, may sinabi ako, tapos hindi tinanggap yung sinabi ko, then I would feel ashamed about it and I will tell myself, I'm stupid. Why did they say that? I'm stupid.
Oh.
So so that's the judgment. That's another layer on top of the wound. So from
Mm-mm.
this I'm stupid judgment, I start to create, of course, that I'm stupid. Ikaw nga sabihin mo sa sarili mo, I'm stupid. You would feel
Yeah.
icky. You wouldn't like yourself. You wouldn't like
Mm-mm.
it when you feel that. So, imagine if you will go on with your life just saying, I'm stupid, I'm stupid. Parang ayaw mo na lang mabuhay. So
Totoo. Yes.
this is how we start formulating our egos, or what we call parang a strong suit or a mask that we put on to try to make sense and try to survive. So to hide my judgment of I'm stupid, I started to create this ego or mask of I'm an achiever. So I try to achieve, I achieve. Because when I achieve things, I start to notice, uy, teka lang, pinapansin na ako. Now I'm seen. Now I'm heard.
Get
Now
more
I'm
attention.
smart. Now I'm
Mm-mm.
smart. Now I deserve the seat on the table. Ganyan. So nagko-compound yun and lumalakas yung ego until dahil feeling nung wound, oy, it works. It works.
Mm-mm.
Hindi nila makikita, hindi ko na nararamdaman yung shame. Hindi ko na rin sinasabihan sarili ko na I'm stupid. But all of that, ang nagwo-work pa rin dun at the very core is our wound of shame.
Yes.
So, achieve ka, achieve, no? Tapos it creates a pattern, a karmic cycle na parang either I create now a story or a reality na I have to be successful, I have to be an achiever, or I have to achieve things to feel successful. For example, kinreate ko yung story na yon or limiting belief na yon. From
Mm-mm.
that achiever state or ego, you now create a limiting belief. So I'll create a limiting belief kasi it worked the first time. Let me use the same equation over and over again. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
have
Yes.
to achieve things to feel successful. Now, when I fail, guess what? Balik ako sa core wound.
Yes.
And just a judgment. I'm stupid and I'm ashamed of myself. So until we address all of those, kasi unique kada tao on how we create things because there's also personality
Yes.
via astrological chart involved here. Kunyari pareho tayong may shame or parang pareho
Mm-mm.
tayong may sinabi na hindi inaccept. Pwedeng iba yung judgment ko doon versus your judgment. Kunyari, for
Mm-mm.
example, tayong dalawa na lang.
Oh yes.
Kunyari may kinuwento ka at that time, siguro nung bata ka, tas hindi kita pinansin, what would you judge yourself to be?
Um. Automatically, I would feel parang hindi ako vina-value.
There, I'm not
Mm-mm.
valued. So that's a
Yes.
judgment.
Mm-mm.
And that's a different judgment from my I'm stupid judgment.
Oh.
So although we're talking about the same thing, rejection and shame, we both have different interpretations of that. So, kaya hindi mo pwedeng ma-generalize yung mga bagay-bagay because inner work is a very intimate journey. It's a very personalized journey.
It is. Hindi lang siya
So,
yung copy paste to
yes.
others. Oh.
So, when we start, so those are the layers that makes up the whole shadow. Let's call it the shadow of fear of failure. So that's the makeup na hindi lang siya may yun yung wounds. Kumbaga yun yung equation and yung elements that created that fear, that shadow of failure or fear of failure. Kasi failure in itself is not a shadow, it's an experience. But the fear of failure is a shadow may intelligence siya kasi may equation on how it
Mm-mm.
works and doesn't work. So now moving towards how do we try to process ourselves and do shadow work? How do we work on our shadows? Kumbaga.
Mm-mm.
Um, meron din tayong pwedeng gawing process. The process that I'm sharing is just based on my experience and how my soul guided me on how to understand first these layers and then how to work through every layer and accept them. Okay.
Mm-mm.
So there are many, many ways on how to do shadow work, pero I'm just sharing you kung ano yung share ko.
Yes. Like what worked for us.
What worked for us. So
Mm-mm.
first, here in Pathways, pansin mo when we start doing our shadow work, we allow the shadow to talk first. We honor what we experienced. We go
Oh.
through a shadow
Oh
talk.
my God.
We call that shadow talk. So when you go through a shadow work session or a healing or a quantum healing and karmic cord cutting process, kasi may shadow work involved yun. Dalawa kami ni Mami J doon eh.
Mm-mm.
We allow first, let's honor we honor our emotions first. Let's let the shadow talk as plain as it is without justifying other players. Like for example, na-hurt ako, ito yung nangyari, blah blah blah. Na-hurt
Mm-mm.
ako with, let's say, with my partner, feeling ko I'm
Mm-mm.
unvalued, I'm unloved, without justifying first. But I know
Oo,
she loves
tama
me,
kasi.
I know he loves me so much.
Oo.
Without ano na, just allow the shadow to talk in a safe space. I'm not saying
Mm-mm.
project this to somebody else. What I'm saying
Mm.
is in a safe space, allow your shadow to talk. Sometimes on your own you can journal this muna. Allow the shadow to talk as raw as it is. And then from there, you allow with all the emotions, you allow it feel the emotions, understand yung emotions, understand how it felt because at that time when you first experienced that emotion, you felt it was true, it was so real to you. But
Mm.
this time you understand your emotions and let it out. So when we give our self a safe space to release the emotion, to let it be experienced so that we can understand and forgive it, bumababa yung ego. Bumababa yung ego or yung survival instinct
Instinct.
na
Mm.
parang, hindi ako yan, hindi dapat ganyan.
Oo.
Nawawala yung ano, you can just allow it to feel safe, to be ashamed, to feel safe, feel, let's say, anger or fear. Yun.
To just speak its language.
Yes,
Tama
to
'no?
just speak its
Oh,
language. Yes.
oo. Kasi sorry, I'm sharing this kasi, as someone who's very, cautious with the words I say, like talagang 'pag nakakaramdaman akong galit talagang I struggle to find the right words. I never really considered before na to speak its language. Pero as I go on with this healing journey, I really have to speak its language. Kung galit ako, galit ako. Na
Mm.
I have to journal it, like write it down. Pero these days, nilalagay ko na lang siya sa notes sa phone kasi mas mabilis ako mag-type.
Or ano, record mo.
Oh, like, so it. I'm just
That's
laughing
funny.
it out, but yeah. Mm-mm.
Kaya alam mo kaya medyo unpopular din siguro yung process ng shadow work noon. But now it's coming out. I'm so happy. It's coming out more and more. Kasi nagkaroon din ng parang sa manifestation consciousness ng think positive, just be
Mm-mm.
positive. Pag negative yan, sobrang yung low vibe, high vibe,
Oo.
nagkaroon na rin ng ganong separation. Unconsciously, we're creating more separation and we are disallowing integration in our lives. Our shadows will remain there until it is recognized, loved, seen, and forgiven. So until hindi natin siya harapin, i-re-experience, this time coming from a different light, kahit anong positive thinking mo dyan, puputok ka pag na-trigger ka.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Puputok ka kasi hindi mo pa na-deal with yung shadow na yon or yung emotion na yon that you are meant to understand, experience, and integrate in your life. Yan.
Mm-mm.
So from feeling the emotions, really allowing our emotions to speak its language. And then pagkaiyak mo biglang, rage. Or parang, awang-awa na pala ako sa sarili ko. Akala ko
Mm-mm.
tatapang ako pero awang-awa na pala ako sa sarili ko. We start feeling our heart and hearing our heart. Okay, so is this something that I still want to pursue itong ganitong perspective, itong ganitong experience, or do I think okay na ako, parang thank you, now I understand na I want to
Mm-mm.
forgive myself for this. So doon na tayo papasok dun sa process of forgiveness. There is may term to in sa Hawaiian, sa mga elders ng Hawaiian,
Oh.
Ho'oponopono. It's I'm
Mm.
sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you, or forgive me. So this time we go back to younger parts of our being. In our case, the inner child or the younger self that we talk to, who first experienced these kinds of
Mm.
emotions of pain, any form of pain, any form of rejection, any form of parang um, feeling unaccepted, and start to really just saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Just like how you would want to talk to a child, or how you wanted someone sana to talk to you when you were
You.
going through that.
Yes.
So, puwede din natin ibigay 'yon sa sarili natin. Hindi natin
Mm.
kailangang i-demand. We have the power to actually be that guide to our younger selves, 'cause we've grown and we are in a different space now. Even though it's still acting on us, but through
Mm-mm.
awareness and through the experience, we have a different lens now when we talk to that child
Yes.
in us. I'm
Mm-mm.
sorry. Please forgive me for not hearing you, for judging you as such, for believing that we have no power, for believing we are a victim. And we can also we can even ask for forgiveness from our younger self. For
Mm-mm.
all the times, many times I would, when I do my own process of shadow work, I would ask for forgiveness for the times I was deaf. Parang ninumb ko yung emotions ko, naging apathetic
Yes.
ako on this part. And I was telling her that was my only way to survive. I didn't know any other way, and I'm sorry, but thank you, because because of all of those experiences, we are now here. I'm now breathing,
Mm-mm.
and I lahat naman yung bumalik din ako sa iyo.
Tama.
So that in itself is enough reason for you to just forgive yourself for whatever choice you have made in the past, and set yourself free from that hold na things shouldn't be, or things shouldn't parang hindi mo dapat na experience yon, those kinds of things. And then you can
Mm-mm.
love yourself back once again, because at the end of the day, yun naman ang purpose ng shadow work, eh, teaching us
Mm-mm.
unconditional love.
Oh
Yun.
my God. Beautifully said. Hala. I am remembering how it felt to talk to my inner child, to the younger versions of myself. My God, hala, kinikilabutan ako. Oo, like to know, to remember, and then to ask forgiveness to my younger self din kung kailan ako nagtanim ng galit kay dad, kung kailan ako like nag-decide to take a leap of faith and leave my school, and just get a job and help mom in the house. Grabe. You know, because, oh God, naiyak ako. Wait. Oh my God. Okay, ayan.
Let it out.
Thank you.
Okay lang yan.
I to the runners tonight. This is why, like, I'm really excited about this episode because with that part alone, like, I have learned so much talaga to um I like to use this term to categorize, like
Mm,
to know where you are right now kung sa stage sa
mm.
life mo para mas mabilis mong makita kung kung nasaan ka, kung ano yung dapat mong gawin, and kung ano yung next mo na nagagawin. Ganon. So, for me, like, as Jerome, like, it really helped me throughout this journey whenever I categorize it like sa 7 dimensions of wellness, now sa shadow work, and then natin, wound, judgment,
Ego,
ego,
limiting
uh,
belief,
limiting beliefs. Kasi from that limiting
story
belief,
na.
you would make a story na. Okay, yes, I
Yes,
would
na this
remember
is
that.
the reality from this,
Oo.
parang yung lahat ng yun, eto ang reality and we think it's true or that's
Mm.
the only truth. But yung pala galing pala sa mga wounds natin. Yeah.
Yes. My God, I have a lot of realizations. I have a lot of realizations. Thank you. Thank you so much. Of course, we're nearing by the end of the episode, but we're gonna try our best to like answer all the questions then para may time pa din kayo to do your work after the podcast. I'm sure you will be so inspired to try one thing or another dito sa natutunan nyo tonight. So, the next question that I want to ask at it is how does like exploring and integrating the shadow contribute to personal growth and development. So, identify na natin kung ano yung wound, kung ano yung judgment na nilagay natin sa sarili natin, yung ego na develop, yung limiting beliefs na panghawakan natin, and then yung story na nagawa natin, like, how will that contribute na, like, our shadow work, when we do the work to personal growth and development? Mm-mm.
Understanding our processing our shadows, working with our shadows, integrating
Mm-mm.
them really allows us to create or recreate realities moving forward. New
Mm-mm.
realities, new possibilities. If once upon a time I was so used to this kind of limitation or limiting belief, and now that
Mm-mm.
I've understood that it's limiting me, I can now recreate it. Now I have forgiven the source or the pain where it came from and forgiven myself and understood the purpose why I had to go through that pain. I can now integrate the lesson that I have learned to where I am now. Hindi lang yung learning the lesson. For example, at first, siguro, kunyari, in my case, I felt like a
Mm-mm.
victim sa circumstances in my life. And
Mm-mm.
then, ang first lesson ko noon in the past was how to take my power back and how to make choices for myself. But
Mm-mm.
eventually, the becomes deeper na, oo, parang kala mo the pain wanted me to understand the lesson, which is the other spectrum from victimization to empowerment. But there is also a purpose from the shadow itself. Meaning, later on in life, like where I am now in guiding others in their own process of shadow work, kung hindi ako galing dun sa feeling of powerless, helplessness, paano ko maiintindihan yung ibang tao who are going through it? How can I also guide them on that there's one, there's hope, and that there's a way to break yourself free from that kung hindi ko makita yung beauty why I had to go through that. The only sometimes hindi lang nare-reveal sa atin right now, but eventually when we allow life to unfold and unveil itself and understand that every experience, shadow or light, painful or beautiful, lahat yan may purpose. Kasi kung hindi ko pinagdaanan yun, paano ko i-guide yung someone who would say, oh, I was violent, I was abused, I was like that. Paano kung I was
Mm.
betrayed? Kung hindi ko naranasan yun and I didn't find the beauty in it, that I had to go through that. Kumbaga, yung full circle of things. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I think this is why I'm thankful then na like in talking about social media ate, very very quickly. This is why I'm so thankful na Facebook is really active in showing us like the memories. Like
Mm.
kung nasaan tayo like this year or like last year kasi like
Yung mga flashback.
yes, yung mga flashback in the archive. Kasi I get it. Like, a lot of my friends din na, Jerome, hindi kasi kami mahilig mag-journal eh. Like, ano ba pwede namin gawin? Nire-recommend ko na lang na, like, yeah, just do what you do. Post ko sa social
Mm.
media, do what you love. Kasi, what's important is for you to have, like, a reference point in your past kung ano yung napagdadaanan mo or yung naging success mo for you to look back on it in the future as a time capsule.
Yes. Time
Ayun.
capsule nga. Maganda.
Mm, mm. My goodness. Thank you. And I think this would be our last question for tonight at about shadow work. And I know there's a lot to cover. There's definitely a
Sobra,
lot
a
to
lot.
cover.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. Sobrang gusto ko lang sana maintindihan ng mga tao na it's it's deep. It's really deep. Pero when we work on it, it's profound. The effects, the rewards are profound and pervading, and it goes beyond. As in, it literally recreates your reality and creates new possibilities for yourself. Kung sasabihin mo sa akin 5 years ago na una
Mm-mm.
magtuturo ako, sabi ko, tigilan niyo ako, wala akong patience magturo. Sinasabi ko yan talaga, even now, sinasabi ko pa rin
Oo.
yan. Pero hindi ko ma-imagine kung anong ginagawa ko ngayon na ginagawa ko. And yet, I feel so fulfilled and happy in the process. And the reason why I guess i-add ko na lang din, the reason why I
Uh-uh.
keep doing what I'm doing when it comes to shadow work, kasi it's not a one-way street na parang kung ano lang experience ko, sinishare ko, ginaguide ko, hindi. Most of the time in this practice, I learn from each one of you, from everyone I talk to, na there are, yun ko nakita yung beauty nung shadow work for me personally, na there were parts in my life in the past na hindi ko matanggap. For example, when it comes to betrayal, kasi ako dati na-betray ako in relationship na ano ko,
Mm-mm.
on cheating. And then I would
Mm-mm.
start talking to people who experience, na sila na may nasa kabilang aspect na na sila yung nang-cheat, na walang pinagkaiba yung wound na pinanggalingan at times. And it gave me
Mm-mm.
a better perspective na dati I was so condescending. Ano yung tawag, kino-condemn ko lahat ng mga
Oo.
nang-cheat kasi
Yes,
andun
yes,
ako sa
yes.
kabilang side.
Oo.
But through this process, pareho lang pala tayo ng pinagdadaanan. Kumbaga, at its very core, there's a core wound between the perpetrator and the victim. And it takes out the separation in humanity. And when I started seeing that, when I started understanding that, and yung mga things like that or shadows like that na hindi ko alam na kaya ko palang mahalin, intindihin. Ano pang hindi kayang mahalin? Hindi ko sinasabing lahat na ng bagay dito natanggap ko, Ang dami pa
Mm.
akong
But we're still in the
wino-work
process.
on. Yes, I'm still parang a working progress kumbaga when it comes to
Mm.
accepting the deeper, darker creases of human, let's say, cruelties and woundings ng humanity.
Mm-mm.
Na tinatry ko pa rin i-process ngayon, intindihin. But because of those things that I have witnessed through this work, dun ako nagkaroon ng hope for not only for
Oh.
my life, for my loved
Mm-mm.
ones or my community, but really for humanity. Na we can get to a place wherein all of us could understand each other and really be one as one humanity. We can love one
Mm-mm.
another deeply and accept each other deeply. Ganun.
Oh,
Yan ang hope.
beautiful. And that's one of the effects too if we have fully embraced our shadows. Diba?
Yes.
Even if it's just one shadow.
Yes.
Grabe. Goosebumps.
Meron
Goosebumps.
meron din akong siguro mga pitfalls lang, common pitfalls in shadow work, kung okay lang din na
Oh,
i-share.
definitely, definitely,
Kasi
ate.
bago tayo mag-end, kasi importante 'to. Kasi kung dun sa iba na magta-try sa mga runners and sa pathways
Mm,
na magta-try to do their own process of shadow work, number one pitfall, na common pitfall in shadow work is judging our triggers. Judging our triggers as bad, judging our triggers as low vibe or whatever, or
mm,
judging our triggers na this shouldn't be happening. Actually, triggers are our alarms kung saan we are being asked to work on and love ourselves. So make it your parang clue or set point na okay, this is a part of me that wants my attention and love. So let's process that and let's work on that shadow. So don't judge the trigger. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? What is this teaching me, or what is it showing me? So then from there, ito yung second pitfall, doing shadow work alone. Um, Parang kanina nga na, o sige, ang daming self-help, ang daming, pwede naman yun,
mm,
pero there are certain shadows, let's say, of deep trauma. For example, you were abused. you were physically
Mm.
abused, basta lahat, ang
Mm.
daming muka niyang trauma. um, it's hard to work on it while you are in it. So allow continuity of life by allowing yourself to be guided by people who have gone through their own healing, gone through their own process, got themselves out of that limitation, and to help you go through your process and guide you properly. So, and another one, nakaka-addict ang shadow work.
Yep.
So getting
Yes. Yes. Yes.
number 3, getting addicted with shadow work
Uh,
na minsan hindi pa nangyayari, pina-process mo na. Ito naman yung
Oo.
another ano, parang, sige, ano kaya 'to? Wala pa,
Inuunahan na natin.
so, I'll tell you something ba't nakaka-addict. Based na lang
Oo.
from the experience of it. Because in every time meron tayong na-integrate na shadow, anong feeling, Jerome? Anong feeling? Just give.
Oh, it feels a little bit lighter, like for me.
Mm,
It does.
lighter and
Mm.
freer. It gives you that kind of talagang yung feeling of freedom. And dahil doon, parang we want to, okay, what's the next one? And then let's work on the next one. Let's work on the next one.
Mm.
Until hanggang sa nasanay, minsan na-addict na to the point na hindi ka pa wala pa yung experience, hindi ka pa nga natitrigger, pinoprocess mo na
Yes.
over-analyze na, which deviates the very purpose of shadow work. Because the purpose of
Mm.
shadow work is we work on the shadows to work on the past, on our past, yung aspects of ourselves that were left in the past. And yung
Mm.
mga projected nating anxieties of future, yung mga
Mm.
worries, ganyan, fears in the future, we work on those to bring us back into the present moment. Now, kung
Oh.
i-overanalyze natin through getting addicted to processing and shadow work, nawala na yung purpose ng kung ba't ka nagsha-shadow work, which is to bring you back
Mm.
into present moment.
Yes.
Yun. So yun
Beautiful.
lang, sana ano, yung tatlo.
Oo. Kaya ako natatawa, like, context lang sa runners, kaya ako natatawa kasi, like, I feel like this year alone lang talaga dun sa healing journey ko, it prompts me to take a good hard look at my life talaga. And nung nabigyan ng light yung shadow ko with my dad, and okay na kami ngayon, I'm very, very thankful. Parang
I'm
like,
so
okay,
happy
like,
for you.
what's next na? Ano na? Like, okay, so, ano naman, yung sa career, okay. So parang I'm planning my next move agad. So I'm like, okay, wait lang. No, no, no. So just,
Pinapangunahan na.
oo.
Pero common ano naman yan, common experience. Pero sinishare lang din namin 'to kasi na-experience din namin yun. But siguro that's
Mm.
the point of mentorship then. It's not about what we learned that we're sharing. We're telling you our failures, our mistakes, or para other people can go through it ng hindi na ganun katagal. I'm not saying you will skip the mistakes and failure because
Mm.
some of the failures we have to experience to learn and to really learn the lesson. But kumbaga para hindi ka na ma-stuck dun ba? Ba't ka ba
Oo.
ma-stuck? Learn from other people's mistakes din.
Yes. Like you would have that ano na, parang tool, like
Yes.
naka-ready na. Parang like it's just up to you if you're gonna use it, but it's there na. Alam mo, like you're equipped already.
Mm.
You're equipped already. Yo.
True.
Mm. I do want to add this like very, very quickly at it. To the runners who are listening now to this episode, I want to say thank you kasi you made it this far, 1 hour and 12 minutes.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Haba
Thank
na
you.
pala.
Oo.
Pero as a
I'm
tip pa lang tayo, no?
yes.
Grabe. Tidbit.
Totoo. I forgot to share this kanina when we were talking about shadow work, but there was this a question from my ethics professor back in college from the movie Shrek. Okay, from the movie
Wow.
Shrek. Yan. Ang naging line kasi dun ni Shrek is, Donkey, ogres are like onions. We have layers. And then sabi ni Donkey, like, why do you have layers? And then the question from my ethics professor was, okay, what did Shrek mean when he said ogres are like onions? We have layers. Realizing this now, like learning about the layers of shadow work. Oh my goodness. Oo nga, no? Like,
Oo nga, no? Galing, ah.
like, yung,
Nakakanood nga ulit si Shrek.
Oo, kasi like Shrek 1, 2, 3 okay, like nakita niya yung wound niya, like nandun yung judgment, na-let go niya yung ego, reframe niya yung limiting beliefs, and then nabago niya yung story. Like, oh my God!
Yes!
Yes!
Kaya ay grabe, kaya pala kanina lang, sorry, so side
Oo.
kwento lang. May pinapanood akong video sa YouTube tapos Shrek, basta Shrek siya ng Shrek. Tapos eto pala
Oo.
yun. Now
Oh!
you're telling me the story of Shrek. May ganun pala.
Oo.
Because yes, shadow work is a process of unlearning. Unlearning and stripping off and peeling off layers. Grabe, ang galing
Mm.
naman ni
Oh my
Shrek.
God!
Oh, sorry mo na si Shrek.
Yeah, manonood na yung runners after na. Oh yeah, okay, Shrek. Ay,
Amazing, grabe.
Pero again, runners and to the listeners, especially to our listeners right now, tuning into the live session, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Sobrang dami pa natin pwedeng pag-usapan. So, at that to officially wrap the podcast episode up, I would like to ask you like this question, what I asked to Mommy J10. Um, what advice or encouragement would you offer to someone who may be struggling in dealing with their emotions? Ayan.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Right now, I can understand na hindi siya madali. Going through your emotions alone may be challenging, but there's always hope. Always remember na there's always hope no matter what you're going through. And if you feel like you can start and begin having self-awareness or going through the steps that we have just mentioned a while ago. But remember, these are just tools, and if in any moment you feel like you need assistance, do not be afraid to ask help, to have someone you feel comfortable with, where you can just allow your emotions to go through, to come through, be heard, and also be understood. um marami ngayon, and in the next 2 years we'll go through this, where we will be asked to get in touch with our emotional intelligence. And what I can say about that is we are all allowed to feel our emotions, but do it in a safe space. You're not, hindi yung projecting, kasi wala rin mangyayari dun, babalik din sa atin yun. But just
Mm-mm.
allow self-awareness, and yun, nandiyan si Jerome. Si Jerome, andyan si Jerome. And Pathways is here if you need any help. You
Yes.
connect with us. Connect with us.
Definitely. And this brings us to the next question. Where can we find you and how can we show some love and support? And segue. Mm-mm.
Um, right now, meron pa kaming in-extend na rin pala namin yung quantum healing
Woo!
packages to December 2023, because we're bringing out new membership, new subscription packages first for the academy naman.
Mm-mm.
Shadow work, and if you need help also or assistance in processing your emotions, I really suggest na mag quantum healing, because both yon, shadow work is already ingrained there. But if you
Mm-mm.
feel like, sige, hindi pa intense, shadow work muna, you can also go through our website, Pathways website, www.thepathwayscommunity.com. Tama.
Yes, yes,
dot
yes.
com.
Tama, tama.
Doon sa healing center. Sa healing center ka muna pumunta, kasi yun pa yung open right now. And go through
Mm-mm.
shadow work. Yun.
Yes, I agree. Ayun. Thank you, thank you. And of course, future Jerome, i-edit mo na lang yung part na yan. Like, nandito yung quantum healing, bam! Ayan. So, may makita nila in a screen, naka-overlay. Hindi tayo nakikita dyan natin that. So, yan, basahin na
Oo.
lang yun nandyan.
Thumbnail, note mo na lang yan. Note to self.
Sorry, note to self. Ayan. So, makita nyo na yan. Okay. So, go to pathwayscommunity.com and just explore. Explore them, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much, Ate Det, for making time tonight. And what about you? Would you like to thank someone or anyone specific? Yan, sige po. Uh,
First, thank you for inviting me and Mommy J and Pathways and
Mm-mm.
spreading the message out in your own way. I'm really, really happy with the work that you're doing, Jerome. And I hope you
Mm-mm.
also appreciate that. Congratulate mo rin sarili mo from time to time.
Mm-mm.
Thank you din sa runners. Thank you for listening and dun sa Pathways na ever supportive, ever supportive, always engaging. I hope everyone someday malabas natin 'to na wherein it's just a normal conversation. Yun yung hope
Definitely.
namin na we'll do shadow work until hindi na siya shadow. When I'm pained, it's just pain. It's not anymore something that I hide. We can
Mm-mm.
openly talk about this in a safe space for everyone. So, yun lang. Thank
I
you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
I don't.
Jenny.
Ayun. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ate Det. And thank you so much to everyone who's listening to this episode now, whether live on Facebook, on Spotify, or your YouTube in the near future. In the near future. So just remember to give yourself grace and give yourself time. Whatever it is that you're feeling right now, you have to allow it to speak its language talaga. Speak its language.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, so again, runners, this is not the end of it. Okay, like marami pa tayong pag-uusapan in the next coming weeks. 5 weeks na lang ata. I'm not sure. 5 weeks na lang ata before the year ends. So let's end the year
Probably.
right. Yeah. Okay. So runners and to the Pathways community, just remember to subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast, run away with Runaway Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. And that's it for this episode. If you like to support the podcast, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Runaway Podcast. Subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast, run away with Runaway Podcast.